What's the spring been like for you guys?
Been good so far. A lot of good teaching, a lot of good learning. Guys have responded well. I think it's still fresh and new, so guys are flying around pretty good and don't have a lot of complaints right now. Things that a lot of corrections, but so far so good, and guys are staying healthy.
You guys as a defense, what are the things you're really trying to harp on during spring football?
Yeah, well, eventually there's some schematic things like we want to be better in third down situations. We want to be better in red zone situations. Those things will come up as we get along a little bit further. Right now, again, it's just the things of we're going to play hard. We got to play fast. We got to play physical. We got to use good fundamentals and do that every play. So it's still kind of some of the basic kind of things that we're trying to do, and we're trying to look at certain guys and to see what their level of readiness is, because we're going to need some guys to step up. So getting good evaluations on certain players and seeing what their ability is and how much they can help us.
Brian, Jeremy looks like he's a little limited at DN. So what's that position look like this spring?
Yeah, he's like totally limited. He's really not doing anything. So actually that's not good, but he's also played a lot. So it's really given a lot of our other defensive ends a great opportunity. As like I said, it's their opportunity to kind of step up and hopefully shine a little bit. And I think in 2 or 3 practices we've been able to see some things from certain guys, like what they can do. Like Dylan Woodkey, our new guy. He's extremely physical, right? And that's good to know. Dean Miller and some of those guys. They've shown some real aggressiveness and some speed and things like that. So there are guys starting to step up a little bit, and it'll sort itself out over time. But right now, everybody's getting a lot of reps there, and because we legitimately do need to find a couple of guys that can really contribute to us winning games next fall.
With Dylan, is he kind of a strong side type DN? Is he a pass rush guy? What is he?
Yeah, he's. I don't want to say he can't rush the passer. His strength would certainly appear to be his ability to get his hands on blockers and control blockers and that kind of stuff. But we really haven't turned anybody loose in pass rush just yet to really know all those things. But he's certainly been noticeable in his ability to control a blocker, and then not just control a blocker, but also shed a blocker and find his way to the ball.
With the safety group, obviously you got OJ and you got Marvin. What have you seen about the group behind them?
Right, yep, same thing. Now that's what spring is all about, right? So trying to really put those guys, hold their feet to the fire a little bit, and give the Dye brothers and the Mason Ellises and the list goes on. Taylor Davis, the list goes on from there. There's a lot of guys back there. I got working with 10 guys right now, so more than I've ever had. So, Marv has done a really awesome job. He's playing kind of more of our nickel or Cinco position that we call him, and safety as well. He's really embraced that. He's really doing well. OJ's had 3 really good consistent days, but we got to find that next 2 to 3 guys that can, we feel like can contribute to a Big 12 championship, and I think there's a lot of guys in the running for that. So they're competing hard.
Saw the referees here. Anything stand out from what you guys did? Maybe a controlled scrimmage?
We held less today in the secondary than we did on the other days. I know that. Still not perfect, but less holding calls, I think. But they didn't. I think they didn't really say anything to us in terms of what we're anything like that. So good to have those guys out there, because I think it keeps our players a little bit more just aware of things, and a little bit more probably disciplined in some of the things that we do.
Devin's obviously new to the room. What were some of the things that you saw from him at Utah State that stood out to you?
Yeah, well, he played a lot, got around the ball, was able to make some plays in run game and pass game, play with some range and some different things, and so that was a pretty easy decision for us when it kind of hey, I'd like to come there if I can, and so we've certainly made room for him, and he hasn't really disappointed. He does things just the way you want him, right? So you don't have to ever worry about him being on some kind of a list. He's really accountable, really works hard. Both the Dye brothers do. They come in here and work on their own, at Sunday nights, and they're in here working. So I appreciate that about those guys, because that tells you that they want it, and they're likely they're not going to be denied. So those are good things.
You mentioned wanting to see some depth develop over the course of spring. What positions are you kind of looking at that in particular?
Well, I don't think there's a position we're not looking for depth. So, our interior defensive tackles, there's, we lost a guy or two in there, and, but we also played a bunch of guys in there. So we return a lot of experience, but not necessarily starting experience as much. So, but we got to find 5 or 6 defensive tackles. We got to find probably 5 or 6 defensive ends that we could feel like we could not have a lot of drop off with, and we're probably not quite there at the defensive end spot yet, but we're building towards that. Lost a few linebackers, to graduation, but we had again we played a lot of guys back there. So, and we've sort of taken that Craig Young position from last year, and it's becoming more of a safety position too. So. I feel good about our ability to put some linebackers out there that can play more than just a couple of guys, and then again we've got 2 really proven corners, but those are positions where beyond that we don't really have any experience at corner. So again, those guys got to get out there and they got to scrap and they got to kind of find their way and they got to find their place, and hopefully over the course of the next 14 practices we'll be able to come out of spring ball really knowing who's ready and who's not ready at those spots.
Brian, I want to ask about DK. What's he bringing to the DBs this spring?
Coach McDonald's has just been awesome. Really everything I could have hoped for. He's really delivering on. He's got great experience. He's got really a good demeanor with the players and just a way about him, how he talks and interacts, and so that's been all positive. And there's lots of times where he just takes the secondary, and I can kind of do some other things that I go look at some other positions and do some things. So I've got a lot of confidence in him, and like I said, his NFL experience with his other previous college experiences, he's been exposed to a lot of things. So that's it's been helpful even in our staff room, of just, hey, just a new idea on some things that we're doing. It's been really helpful. He's been really good.
With the Dye brothers, obviously it's been a relatively short time with both of them in the program. But in the case of many siblings, do you see a little bit of a sibling rivalry there? They harp each other a little bit?
I don't. I don't see it. I was a little worried about that, like in a perfect world, in their minds probably, hey, one guy's playing this spot, the other guy's playing the other, they're playing together out there and starting, and said, well, I can't guarantee that's going to happen now, so I can't guarantee you're not going to have to compete with each other sometimes to play also. And so as long as they understand that, which I think they do, I just haven't seen any kind of competitive, jealous rivalry between those guys at all. I really think they're in it together and really want each other to do well. So I haven't seen any of that yet.
Anything else for Coach B? Thanks, Brian.
Yep.
Thanks, Brian.